So Ernesto, tell me again where you're from.
I'm from Aurora, Illinois. It's about 30 miles west of Chicago.
So is that, that home for you? Is that where you grew up?
Yeah, born and raised. Yeah, so I even did my undergrad all in Illinois.
Oh,
yeah.
wow. And obviously you've got some passion for the area?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Good food. Sports are big in Illinois as well. And
Sure.
yeah, it's a very diverse state.
Yeah.
In every aspect.
Yeah, I mean, Chicago itself, to me, Chicago is like the best big city, small town feel.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great feeling in downtown Chicago in particular, I find.
Yeah, people are friendly.
Yeah.
Depending, as long as if you're a Cub fan, you might not. If you're a Sox fan, you might not have much success,
Right,
and vice
well.
versa. But other than that, everyone's great.
Exactly, exactly. How long have you been doing planning?
So a little bit under 15 years.
Okay, so a good long while.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your favorite part? What do you do? What do you like to do the best?
Well, funny you should ask that. I'm the eldest of 4 brothers, and I'm the eldest grandson of some 32 grandchildren.
Wow.
So service is in my blood.
Okay.
I love helping, and I think taking somebody from where they're at and walking them to cross home plate metaphorically, which
Sure.
is on baseball, is something that I great passion and great enjoyment and fulfillment from.
So what's the best part of your job?
Best part of my job, the relationships, the people. I don't have clients, I have friends, and that's the way. I can't work with people unless we're going to be friends.
Sure.
And I tell people, before we talk about anything, let's just see if we're a good fit for each other. So we have a discussion about just life in general, and then we go from there.
And so how does that sort of fit into the overall planning process as you get to know them? That sort of, does that dictate kinds of things that you do or ways that you put a plan together?
Oh, absolutely, because quality of life is so important. And as I get to know people, as I get to know we become friends, then yeah, I'll bring. You like to travel to Cancun,
Sure.
Steve. Yeah, so even though you don't have that in your plan, let's just keep it in the back. And
Okay.
so I'm already budgeting for that. So just examples like that. So the more we get to know each other, the more I can accordingly make a plan.
Yeah.
And we can go ahead and execute it. So.
And so when you're sitting with a couple and let's say they're meeting for the first time or even the third time or the sixth time, how often do you have to put on your marriage counselor hat?
Ooh, well, I have the privilege of working with the baby boomer generation.
Sure.
So actually, I get a lot of advice. I've been married 18 years to 18 this year. So, but just maybe sometimes sharing my experiences with them,
Aha.
it kind of gives them a memory jog and like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Ernesto and his wife Juanita. Yeah, so
Yeah. I mean, interesting. And so, is there a typical day in your world?
Absolutely not, and that's the great thing about this business because you don't know who you're going to meet. When they come into your office, depending on how they get there, and it becomes a great conversation, and it goes from there.
What's the biggest change you've seen in the time that you've been in the business?
So. My journey is taking me through some different carriers, so companies that rhyme with the word Allstate,
Okay.
and farmers. So great people, great relationships over there. I ended up going independent a few years back,
Okay.
and just gives me more tools and more resources to be able to help in a more comprehensive fashion.
So let's talk about when you get somebody to that retirement. How rewarding is it when you can tell them you can retire? Go forth.
I'll tell you, it's almost like a shot of dopamine because when
Is it really?
yeah, oh, absolutely. I had a guy that definitely said, I'm staying till I'm 70. He's a little bit older than his spouse, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, the health insurance, that's a big key why we found a solution for them. And he actually looked at me, he's like, is this true? Can it really happen? And for a moment there, I could see like the hamster running. He's like, oh, now I'm all these things I'm going to do. And I said, look, it's ready whenever you're ready to start it.
Nice.
So you're in control. And I think that was the biggest part of our conversation. And a good friend of mine.
Yeah. So, as you talk, you've tested that several times that you make friends and it's like family. And, there comes a time when we lose one of the spouse, right? Somebody passes.
Sure.
And you are probably one of the first calls they make.
Absolutely. So when we actually put together our plan, which is written, we actually put that in our path. So, we don't know what's going to happen, but let's plan for these things in case that happens. We already have it written down and how we're going to stay in our path. And that's for both couples. So we're both people in the
Sure.
marriage. We don't know which one. So we incorporate that. And because they already know, Ernesto, we had talked about that. Of course, obviously, it's a difficult time, but that plan gets us through it.
But that's part of your job too. That's what you have to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sad as it is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But there is another side to that too, in terms of once you get through that, all of that emotion, you can then know that the surviving spouse is taken care of.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things we talk about goals, we talk about fun in retirement, and say, listen, as long as one of you are here, the goals still continue. That may be traveling to go see the grandchildren. That may be to working with a charity that they decided that they both were very passionate about. So we definitely make sure that's in the plan, and we incorporate in that. So, but it gives me tremendous fulfillment.
Sure.
When we put that together for them.
Sure. I mean, obviously, you're like a teacher.
You could say
an
that.
Educator.
Yeah.
Because you certainly put a message out there and to engage people to put that plan together.
Yeah. And let me tell you, so one of the coolest parts about what we do is talking about all the fun things they're going to do. We call that the itchy finger money. A lot of times you can't go down the street without talking to another advisor. A lot of times they want to tap their money. We like to have ample liquidity because you might get an itch to buy something. You might get an itch to travel somewhere. And then we talk about all those things, and that's the
itchy money.
Things.
I like that. Yeah. Ernesto, anything else you want to touch on that we haven't talked about?
No, just it's a tremendous passion. It's a tremendous fulfillment to be able to meet people, to work side by side. Not necessarily always being the teacher, but also just hearing people out. I think one of the underrated qualities that our industry suffers from is not being able to listen. And that's one thing that I pride myself on. I want to hear you, and let's think about that, and then let's go forward from there.
Cool. All right, Ernesto, thanks so much. I appreciate you
thank
hanging
you,
out.
Steve.
All right.
Yeah.